It's 0300 hours. You're on a guard shift in the United States Marine Corps. Everything is going good, just your usual operations. Sit and look pretty while you hope no one attacks the FOB. Your eyes are peeled for hostiles in and out of the wire. It's now 0330, and you're starting to hear noises like someone is trespassing. After sweeping the nearby brush and area with the spotlight, you don't see anything, so you switch to your nods. Your nods pick up a silhouette of a man. You shout, "Lightning!" They respond with
Thunder.
You allow them to proceed. Against all odds, it's a tattered soldier, still equipped with his standard-issue Vietnam-era gear. It's 2014. The Vietnam War has been over since 1975. The soldier asks you if
It's his turn for what?
you respond jokingly, and out of fear, "No, sir. You've been relieved of your duty." You're not making eye contact with him. And then, he disappeared. No noises, no footsteps, no trace. Gone. That was the story of a Redditor stationed at Paris Island. It's not the first military ghost story, or the last. U.S. military ghost stories date all the way back to the Revolutionary War. There was an incident involving U.S. revolutionaries seemingly attacked the British without ever being seen. According to the British reports, they had speculated it was a previous POW of the early stages of the Revolutionary War, coming back to attack their abusive captors. As of recent times, many stories have been shared on social media such as Reddit, Instagram, and even Facebook, of people encountering ghost soldiers. The term ghost soldiers or ghost militaries are a bit misleading. A ghost soldier is a soldier that has been MIA or KIA, but is still within a division or company's roster as living. Oftentimes, this could be due to paperwork delay, etc., but historically, the NVA or North Vietnamese Army would falsely report casualties in order to receive more rations and siphon the KIA soldiers' pensions. The sightings of paranormal activity on the battlefield have been recorded in nearly every large-scale war since the 17th century. Due to religious superstitions during the Vietnam War, the American and joint American forces would use skulls and bones of fallen Viet Cong to scare the Vietnamese. Due to the Vietnamese religious beliefs, as well as purposely mutilating confirmed kills and POWs so that they would lose limbs, hearing, and the ability to eat, as well as not get into their version of heaven. Another common symbol in the Vietnam War was the Ace of Spades, due to the belief that the Ace of Spades is wielded by the Dealer of Death, which is the US equivalent of seeing the Grim Reaper. Due to the fierce fighting and relentlessness of the Viet Cong, US soldiers use psychological tactics to strike fear in the enemy. Would you want to push a military base with all your dead friends' heads out front? I don't think so. Ghosts have been reported years after a battle or war is over, such as the Civil War at Gettysburg. Many people report seeing or hearing ghostly figures, cannons, horses, and even some people have reportedly been touched on the shoulder or yelled at by an unknown apparition to return to the front line. None more famous in recent times than the 8 US Marines that had found themselves in the middle of a firefight with ghosts? Known as Observation Point Rock, 8 US Marines were tasked to set up defensive positions and to investigate the site. The site is located in the province of Helmand, Afghanistan. It is the center of Afghanistan's opium poppy agriculture. It was believed to supply as much as 39% of the world's heroin, according to the BBC. This story is told by a Redditor that was there. Reddit user Isolation shares his experience firsthand. In Helmand, Observation Point Rock, or Op Rock, as the soldier station there called it, is indistinguishable from the countless abandoned NATO or Afghan National Army bases and outposts. The odd string of barbed wire, packaging from rations, discarded sandbags, these are the only indicators that anyone was ever there. The rock that gives it that name is a nondescript 100-foot tall mound with a small collapsed tunnel system underneath, apparently built by the Taliban as a defensive position. When the US Marines and British soldiers occupied the area and started digging to find or create defensive positions, they made a frightening discovery.
As we were digging, we started to find bone. Not one bone, not 2 bones. Tons. There were bones for days. We could have built our whole observation point out of bones.
Locals say that the area had been used as a gravesite for centuries, and that it had also been the site of several massacres committed by both sides during the Afghan-Soviet War of the 1980s.
I swear there were muzzle flashes. I saw the dim flares again. It seemed like the entire position was being lit up. At first I ducked for cover, but there was no physical or auditory evidence, just lights. Then almost as abruptly as it started, it ended, and I was back looking at the land through a fuzzy green lens. A whisper in my ear, "Roze Oyezibe." This is loosely translated from Russian, means drop your weapon.
Others swore they saw and heard figures in the distance that no one else could see, experienced mysterious radio static, or felt drastic changes in the temperature. They also reported distressing psychological events, not unusual in a conflict zone, such as constant nightmares, episodes of sleep paralysis, and a constant feeling of being watched. They had adopted a local dog they called Ugly Betty, who barked loudly and unpredictably when there was no one there. When one group of Marines passed control of Op Rock to British soldiers, they said that they believed the place to be haunted. One Marine told the New York Times that he believed it was a conduct for paranormal activity. It was later the subject of an episode of the Sci-Fi Channel show Paranormal Witness. Locals believe that the area is both sacred and cursed, owing to the presence of a shrine in the nearby village of Amir Aga. When the US Marines were stationed here, the old bazaar of the town was almost completely deserted and destroyed. Juma Gol, a 35-year-old from the local district, Garmsir, had many stories from his father as a local mullah about the power associated within the area. We heard many stories about the US and British Marines who were scared of hearing voices and noises or felt the presence of someone near them, but this isn't the first time this has happened, he says through a translator. When the Russians attacked Amir Aga, we remember that the tanks that came to attack the shrine got stuck in mud, where they could be quickly destroyed by Mujahideen fighters. To this day, they are stuck, and no one can get them out. This is because of the power of Amir Hamza and the holy land of Amir Aga. Hearing voices or seeing hallucinations are not symptoms of PTSD, also known as post-traumatic stress disorder, but people who are traumatized can disassociate, where you can have abnormal perceptual experiences, says psychiatrist Anthony Feinstein of the University of Toronto, who specializes in the psychological effects of conflict. And with that final note, there is no winning in war. Both sides lose, both sides suffer, and that's it. See ya.
What? What they claim are the
What? What? That's the alien? That's a little stone! That's a rock somebody carved out! What the fuck, man? What?